Welcome to the Ages of Rock podcast with your hosts Bill Algie, Dennis Talbot, and Alan Tate. We are three guys who have one thing in common, a love of rock and roll. Our goal is to talk about all things rock. We hope you find this show intriguing, funny, and occasionally highly opinionated. Enjoy! Hey folks, this is episode number 187, and this week we have Evansville group called The Cold Stairs coming on. They'll be here a little bit later, but we're going to do our normal pre-show bullshit first. One thing I posted earlier today, David Lee Roth has said that Van Halen is done. I didn't actually read the article or watch the video or whatever. I just saw the Blabbermouth article and I shared it. So, what are your thoughts, Dennis?
It is basically a continuation of a conversation that he had here a while back, and everybody's kind of picked up onto it and added more. He basically said that, they've been offered. Van Halen's been offered this last year because even Michael Anthony said, they came to him, said, would you be willing to do a tour? He was all in, Dave's all in. The Van Halen brothers, whichever one it was, somehow it got caught up in the quagmire of paperwork and not doing it. But anyway, this has been going on for a while, and there's been like all kinds of rumors about Eddie's health and what have you. So David's kind of run with this. And so, you know what? David wrote a lot of these songs. He's going to go to Vegas. He's going to do this show. And he's got, from the video that I seen the other day, goddamn, he's got 3 guitar players trying to fill Eddie's shoes, plus a bass player, or at least 2 guitar players, maybe 3. I may be wrong on that. But he did a private party, just kind of a warm-up for this show that he's doing in Vegas. His is all, David Lee Roth thing. I was extremely excited about this and was like going, you know what, that's something I could probably do. Now, the key word on this is was, and I said that in our text earlier. After watching that video, I'm like, holy shit. I mean, it's like, God damn it. Dave's never been a singer, but Dave put on a great show. He's just basically now a crazy old man on stage, just playing along. There's guys in the background playing music, and he's just doing whatever the fuck he wants. He's not singing, he's talking and putting in this and that. I mean, it's a fucking train wreck is what it is. And I hate that. I hate it.
I saw David Lee Roth back in like 92, and he was doing the same thing on stage. Yeah. So
well, and I saw him in 83 or 84. Take that back. Might have been 83 actually on that last tour with Van Halen, and then I seen before Eddie went to rehab on that last, their reunion tour or whatever with Wolfgang, and Dave was doing the same stuff. He had this sandy little box that he was shuffling his feet around and doing. He's got his shtick and his little thing that he does, and I mean, I love David Lee Roth, but oh my God, it's just. I was ready to if he puts this together and it's a really good deal, I would fly to Las Vegas and see this. No way.
What if he sang the pre-recorded vocals?
I wouldn't. If he came to Evansville, I would not see it. I'm telling you, I wouldn't leave my fucking house to see this shit. I'm seriously.
I don't think he could lip sync at all.
How can you lip sync?
The whole problem. It'd be like there'd be no debate at all. Is he using tracks? Yeah, because his mouth is shut and the thing is just rolling, man.
He rambles on. I mean, just like he does in these interviews. He's a rambler. I mean, and the thing is, you cannot not like David Lee Roth. But you know what? Leave your legend as is. We want to remember you as is.
He's ruining it, dude.
Yeah, it's going to be not going to be good.
He's ruining it.
Yeah. I won't go. So, unfortunately. Bill, your thoughts? Same?
No, I just thought that him and Vince Neil need to do a tour together. It'll be the blah 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 tour or the guest the lyrics tour. I mean, it was like the old man. It was a train wreck. You're right. You said train wreck. That describes it. It was
bad.
But to be honest with you, anybody that knows David Lee Roth, if you expected anything other than that, then you deserve exactly what you get.
Right.
It's like it's like Vinny. Same thing. You know what you're going to get, so if you're willing to pay for it, then go and enjoy it and have a good time.
Maybe I understand a Vinny fan now, because you know what? I always have that glimmer of hope.
You'll never understand a Vinny.
I have that glimmer of hope that maybe some way it's going to be like the old days. You're trying to. Yeah, it ain't going to happen.
It is never going to happen.
Alan, your thoughts on it?
Yeah,
you brought this up. What's your thoughts?
I really don't have any thoughts. I just brought it up.
Oh, you're just a shit stirrer.
No, seriously. I saw David Lee Roth, like I said earlier, in '92, and I thought it was a shit show then. I wouldn't go to Vegas now to see that shit show. When Van Halen did their last couple of tours with him, I didn't bother going to see it because David Lee Roth is such a shit show.
Oh, my decision to go.
Hey, David Lee Roth, would you like to come on this shit show?
I'd love to have David on.
Not to go see them on the last tour with David Lee Roth was I watched the very first video and went, "This is a mess. Why would I'm not paying for that?"
Yeah. I tell you what though, and unfortunately, when I saw the Van Halen thing with Wolfgang, David wasn't the mess at that point. It was Eddie. Was a complete.
Well, no, it was just Eddie was just a bigger mess.
Yeah, he was a huge mess.
David Lee Roth was still a mess. Eddie was just a bigger mess.
And what's sad is, I saw a video of that tour after they stopped it for a little bit. He went to rehab, got his shit together, and Eddie was playing right then. When he came back, Eddie was I wouldn't say at the top of his game, but he was playing very good at that point. And I wish I could have seen him before that. The night I seen him, dude, he was basically a crackhead. You could just tell he was methed out, confused. I mean, he was just completely and he was playing like shit. I mean, it was terrible. So he made Dave look good, actually.
That's what I'm saying.
he pulled the shit away from Dave
talking about people going to rehab. So James Hetfield, what's up with that? I was shocked by that. Were you guys shocked by that at all?
Didn't they just come out with a new whiskey?
Really, I was not shocked by that. Being on the road is hard.
Right.
Yeah, I get that.
Those old demons sneak up on. I mean, everybody has some kind of addiction to something.
Yeah.
Whether it be whiskey, women, drugs, vinyl records, everybody has addicted to something. But I
was wondering how you were going to get him in there.
I could see how being on the road, he's probably bored. Because if his family isn't traveling with him, he probably has nothing much to do. Right. He's been all over the world. How many times? Right. I've been here already. There's nothing to do. I'm going to get drunk.
Well, and if you've seen that, did you see that documentary here a while back? Whenever he went through rehab the time before, and was it some kind of monster?
I saw some kind of monster, but that's like 15 or 20 years old.
I know, but the whole point is, James has got some issues, and then of course, you got that, his psychiatric person in there, and he was trying to therapist and was trying to help with the band and these little notes on the wall and help him through his addiction. James has got some, he's got some issues he's got to work through, and he's, and then like you said, throw him out on tour, and they've been on tour for goddamn how long now? I mean, they just keep. It's
been quite a while. One thing I will say, everybody that keeps saying that Lars drove him to that, I don't. That's a little much, I think.
I'm guilty. I'm sorry, I said it online.
You're not the only person that has said that, but I mean that's there are so many people that really they hate Lars, so they immediately blame Lars for James's troubles, and James is a grown ass man, and James's troubles are his own. I mean,
right. He's got his own demons. I mean, he's battled them for a long time, so it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I hate to say, Slipknot was getting ready to go with them. I mean, that's the thing is, I mean, I know I want James to get better, and I don't want to. When I was making the Lars joke, I wasn't saying I don't want James to get better. But the thing he's got to remember, and of course,
sensitive.
No, but the whole point is, of course, like Gene is, I don't like weed and I don't like drugs, but I'm now the corporate head guy of the CBD oil, bullshit. And I don't drink, but I've got my own, rock and brews. I've got my own beer, wine, what have you. Same deal with, Metallica. They just come out with this new alcohol. Was it vodka or whiskey or whatever it was, bourbon or some kind of shit like that. And the thing is, stay away from that shit. If that's your problem, and the problem is with James has got plenty of money. Postponing this tour didn't hurt James's lifestyle whatsoever. The people on his tour, the people who work for him, the tour people, the tour managers, the people who worked on his crew, Slipknot, the people who were going with him. That's a lot of people that depend on you. And I want him to get better, but he has to make better decisions when you're. Basically, he's ahead of one of 4 people that run this corporation or this company.
No, one of 2 people that run that company.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That's Lars and James's baby. Everybody else works for them.
This is the Gene and Paul situation.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think you make a valid point.
Yeah.
Because there are so many people that that's the income they were dependent on. Now they're scrambling to look for something to do. Mm-hmm. But we don't know what was going on behind the scenes. You don't know how bad his behavior may have been backstage or on the tour bus or whatever. There are so many contributing factors to this that, in my opinion, just to say, these people are dependent on you, you shouldn't have went into rehab yet. You understand what I'm saying?
No,
I'm not cracking on you for what you say because I think you have a valid point. Right. But there's more to it than just these people depend on you.
Well, and if he's gone, then it's completely gone. You know what I'm saying? If something happens to him and he overdoes whatever he's going to do, then it's completely over at that point. And I'm glad. And like I said, it's kind of I do it in kind of a funny way whenever I was doing it on the internet. But the whole point is, I understand, and I hope he does get better. I don't wish any ill will on anybody. It's just a fact of too. You've been through this before. The warning signs, and you're running a company that big. You better get your shit together. If you've got off time and you got some problems and you get your shit together, but not in the middle of a tour, you should have known better. But there again, the demons are there. They're here, Lars. You're not Lars, but here have a beer. You know what I'm saying? Here, James, have a beer, whatever. But it is what it is. So. And it may be more than that. We don't know. We're just speculating because he's going to rehab.
That's what we do.
Exactly.
Well, you fill in the blanks.
Yeah. So
there's blanks to be filled in.
Fake news. In the blanks.
That's right. Fake news.
I guess now
CNN.
I guess now we can discuss album acquisitions.
Ooh,
hey, 3 weeks in a row, I got the name of that right.
You got none, Bill? What's up?
No, I didn't. No, I went out to the outlet to the antique mall where I usually go, and nothing out there.
What's good though? At least you did check. You went through.
I checked. There was just nothing that's good. And they had a record show Sunday, and I just didn't want to mess with it.
Okay, Alan, you?
I listened to something new on
Spotify.
I listened to a bunch of the Cars on Spotify. Well, what's funny is
just paid those guys about 3 cents.
The last couple of weeks, I've been on a car. I've been on more of a Benjamin Orr kick than I have the Rick Ocasek kick. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because every time I pull YouTube up on my phone, it's a different Benjamin Orr video. So I have a collection of Benjamin Orr video links that I need to watch.
I did watch a cool movie. What was the movie I watched? I watched a movie called Bands or Brands. Amazon Prime got a couple really good. They had a couple really good documentaries. So I watched that. It was really good. Yeah, it was really good. And it had a lot of people on there. Jack Russell's on there, and there's just a bunch of different people on there. And it's really about some of that's Jack's on there because of the split up between Great White and stuff like that. What happened to the band and the brand?
So it's more of a business type situation.
Well, yeah, but and it's more of that kind of stuff. But it was really good. I watched that a couple weeks ago, and then I watched the Randy Castillo documentary the other day. That was really good.
Is that also on Amazon Prime?
Yeah, it was on Amazon too. Yeah, it was free.
I have Amazon Prime.
It was really good. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize he died. I didn't know that. I guess, or I've forgotten that. So I'm watching. I'm like, dude, that'd be a cool dude to have on the show. And I'm like, oh shit, he can't be on the show. I mean, literally, I just really thought I didn't know.
Yeah, I think he passed back in 2002 or something.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a day or two. Yeah. another one of those kind of things where something just snuck up on him, and all of a sudden, he's in trouble. And then I watched the Eric Carr story yesterday, which I hadn't watched that yet either. I don't think
I saw that one a while back.
Yeah, it's old. But so I've caught up on a couple of those. There's another thing on there called Brian Forsyth was on it. It was from Kicks. It was called
Here I Go Again.
No. This was they were like short. They were like short videos, like interview videos, and they were pretty cool. I'll have to figure out what the name of those. We'll have to go back and look for them. The problem with it is that unlike Amazon, if you watch something on Amazon, then it tracks your stuff and it tells you, oh, you watched this, so here's some more stuff like what you just watched. Amazon doesn't do that. You have to go in and you have to put in rock documentaries again, and then it goes and finds a bunch of them. Okay. But anyway, there was some cool stuff on there, so you got to troll around on there. There's lots of stuff.
Well, speaking of rock documentaries, I finally got around to watching Here I Go Again over the weekend.
Yeah?
Finally? After...
Yeah. Well, I finally got time, dude.
I know.
But I really enjoyed that, and it was funny because I had gone, when you had talked kind of the highlights of what had gone on throughout the show, I would see something happen. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember Dennis talking about that. Oh yeah, I remember Dennis talking about that. What I did really like was when they were in the recording studio with Ron Keel, that song that they recorded. I really dug that song. That's a pretty good song.
Good.
Yeah, really I thought that was a really good song. And I do like how Ron busted his balls, and he's like, no, I'm the fucking producer. You're going to do what I fucking say.
I'm done. It's like, no, you're not.
No, you're not, motherfucker.
You got a 6'6" guy just fucking looking you down going, get in there and fucking sing this song. That was great.
Yeah, he'd be a little intimidating.
Before I get into my albums, go ahead.
Well, unfortunately, Kiss doesn't do that anymore. It hasn't done that for the number of years where they have somebody outside going,
no.
That sucks. Try that again.
Well, they need that, and they need it badly. Speaking of documentaries, before I get into the thing, I watched did you guys watch the Phil Hartman Last Days of Phil Hartman?
Yes, I did. I watched that.
It was on the other day.
I was just absolutely floored.
Can't see that at all, dude.
Pull that way back. Oh, the Poco, yeah.
That was Phil Hartman's design.
He did that. Yeah.
He actually designed that. I was floored by knowing that he did artistic stuff before he became a comedian, and he did that one. And there was another album, I can't remember who it was for, but he did the album cover for. I think it was America.
It was Ventura Highway, I think.
Yeah. And I was like going, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, that was. I mean, it's sad that we had to learn that the way we had to learn it, but
exactly,
it was interesting trivia.
Yeah, I was sitting there looking at Kelly. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that was really
well.
sad.
Show us your albums real quick.
So the only thing I got from I got a late shipment from my. You
got 5 minutes, dude.
Amazon. Okay. Queen News of the World, brand new. I have this before, but it's now I got a new because this is a flip out one, so it's great. So it's brand new in the thing. The Carr, and of course, I like Amazon because they send these in cardboard inside another cardboard box so they don't get ripped. Well, this came from another company, like some kind of disc records through Amazon. Of course, they sent it in a thin plastic, really thin cardboard thing. It was sitting on my porch just as is, and the corner was bent. I was like, oh, shit. But no, it came out good, and I was worried it was going to be all jacked up. My friend Joe, who was on the show before, who caused a lot of hate on the show before. Anyway, he came down this weekend, and he called me, and he came over Sunday. It was today, Tuesday. He came over Monday, and we sat around, and we agreed on a lot of stuff.
Today is Monday.
Today is Monday, so it was Sunday. I'm sorry,
y'all. Dennis is off this week.
I'm on vacation.
He's off his fucking rocker.
I have lost track because I don't care anymore. So anyway, no, Sunday because I went to my mom and dad's on Saturday, so that's what got me. I had a funeral to go to, and that's what got me. I thought it was Sunday. Anyway, he came down. We listened to Chicago Transit Authority album, the first side with the introduction, and we sit there and listen to that whole thing, and I'm like going. It sounded so good. And we were just sitting there. We had it cranked up, just sitting back, listening to that shit. Then we pulled out the Cheap Trick Dream Police album that was the Japanese version that I got from the guys down there. And when I was down in Nashville, loved it. I mean, it sounded great all the way through. Enjoyed it. Then we got on YouTube and started looking at stuff. We actually watched some of Andrew's, that one with the Allison Steele interview.
Oh,
I showed him that. He thought that was really cool. And so shout out to Andrew Spangetti. Did I say it right? Spangetti?
Scambatty.
Scambetti. There you go.
Just call him Scab Boy.
I just had spaghetti, so that's why maybe I'm thinking that. But anyway, we watched a bunch of other videos. Now he is coming down on Thursday. This show actually will be coming out on Thursday. On that day, he is coming down to Evansville. We're going to meet up. We're going to the Space Monkey Records, me and him. And then we actually sent the guy a thing. He says he's going to be late. He says, I'll stay open late. And what do you guys like to drink? And I go, water be fine. So we're spending the whole
He wants
evening.
to get you drunk so you buy more records.
Joe says he's bringing an X amount of dollars, and that's all he's going to put in.
I guarantee you he will be drunk when he goes to get the records.
No, I won't. I got to drive in. I don't do that. So, anyway.
Well, you guys ready for the Cold Stairs?
Big record week. Next week will be big record week. Okay. Bring on the Cold Stairs. Love those guys.
All right. Hey, Brian. Hey, Karis. How you guys doing?
Great, Alan.
Thanks for having us.
Anytime, my brothers. How's it been?
Very good. Very good. Especially the last couple of weeks have been great.
I want you to talk about that last couple of weeks.
Well, I got a hip replacement. Brian got a knee replacement. We put another 20 years on rock and roll.
It's a bionic duo.
Yeah.
They had a 2-for-1, I mean, I just,
Bring a buddy.
Fine. I just couldn't pass up a good deal,
That like the buy one get one for equal or lesser value.
That's right. But for the bionic band,
Yeah. Now, in all seriousness, you guys are the Cold Stairs. You're out of here out of Evansville, Indiana. How long have you guys been a band?
About 10 years. Pretty close to 10 years. We haven't been playing seriously the whole time. We obviously there was a time I went through cancer and had to deal with that, and then we had some other stuff kind of going back and forth. We've been pretty serious about doing this since 2016 or so.
And you've got 3 albums and an EP out. Is that correct?
We have Howlin' Wind, which was the first record that we did. We had a record called Headbent that's out on Small Stone Records, and Mountain, which was our self-release that we did 2018, and then the new record's fixing to drop. So we'll have 4 records.
Full lengths, and then I guess maybe a couple other singles and the EP Resonator that we did with Martin.
Yeah.
You guys just got some, you said you had some stuff going on the last couple of weeks that you wanted to talk about. Did you get some news?
Yeah, we had, I'd had a couple comments on Instagram from Mr. Joe Bonamassa over the last couple months. And, was just super flattered by that. And, but didn't really expect much out of that. And then about 3 weeks ago, the guy, Charlie Daughtry, that runs the Les Paul Forum, posted a thing on his page and said he really, really liked the new record. And he had reached out to me, and just a super kind, super nice guy. And when he did, he said that Joe had played him the record, I think, and was a big fan too. And then, that was cool enough. And then we kind of got a little bit of feedback that we might get asked to do some shows with Joe or do one of the blues cruises. And then the next thing I know, Joe posted on his page that the quote was, we were his favorite musical discovery of 2019, which absolutely, knocked us out. So that, when that happened, it helps. Hey, you get a lot of buzz. I mean, Joe's got 600,000 people that follow him on Instagram. And I haven't seen him do that with any other bands. It was incredibly gracious and nice of him to do that. And so that's bumped us up a little bit. And the singles are coming out, the EPs are dropping. We have an EP that came out last Friday, and then not this Friday we have a single that comes out, and the following week we have the blues.
I think we may have lost Chris.
I think
never one.
Notice the signal's a little spotty in his basement.
Yeah, I'm upstairs. Let me. Yeah. You losing me, or am I in there good?
You kind of paused there for about 20 or 30 seconds. That whole thing that you were saying was just dead.
We got the Joe Bonamassa part that he had posted that you guys were his favorite band, and then after that it kind of went away.
Yeah, I was just saying, as you guys know, it's never just one thing. We've had 2 or 3 things cascading around the same time, and that really helps. It's some of the playlists and stuff that we've gotten, and then all this other stuff kind of happen around the same time. Really helps, and it's really what you need to kind of. I mean, it takes a lot to get noticed. There's so much static out there, and so much going on at any time. It just takes a whole lot to get noticed. So
that's cool, man. When you're telling a story, I got goosebumps. That's pretty damn cool. I mean, we've had a couple. We've had a couple of those moments where somebody reaches out to us and it's like, "What? You want to be on our show?" It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, I had goosebumps. I woke up and I had the phone beside the bed, and I picked the phone up and clicked that, and I had a ton of messages in the inbox and some other stuff, and I was like, what is going on? And I saw that, and I'll tell you a funny story real quick. About a year ago, Joe was in town playing, and he came into the place that I teach guitar at. And so when Brian and I are in town, we teach guitar and drum lessons. And so he came in there, and I was upstairs, and the guy that runs the shop, was talking with him about guitars. And it would have been fantastic if Tim had said, hey, the guy upstairs, you might have heard him. It's cold stairs, whatever. But he didn't. And, he's at the time, he's selling guitars and concentrating on that kind of stuff, which I get and I understand. But I'll be honest, it broke my heart at the time, because I'm a Joe B fan, and it would have been nice. And I kind of shelved it. And then for this to happen, a year later, around the same time, it didn't feel like a coincidence. It felt right. It has definitely been a blessing, and felt like a blessing at the time. So
that's very cool. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
for sure, man.
Look at that. Dennis is talking, and
I know
hear anything.
It's nothing happening.
Best Dennis has sounded this whole.
Well, I muted like I said I was going to do, so I didn't interrupt or anything. But no, that music store is my music store, and Tim is my guy who does all my guitar work, and I've been going to him for years, so I know what you're talking about.
That's where I got my acoustic guitar and one of my basses.
No, I mean,
one of my bass rigs.
Tim's been my guy for a long, actually, before he moved into this place, the old place. So anyway,
yeah.
But no, you guys deserve every bit of credit that you can get right now, because, like I said, being a musician or ex-musician, well, I'm not playing right now, but me and Alan have got something going on. But anyway, I don't go to bars. I don't go out as much as I'd like to see bands. But we did see you guys up at Lincoln Park. At the amphitheater. You guys opened up for. I can't even think of the band. I know you guys were there, but what was the band that was open? You opened for
Grand Funk
Railroad, dude.
No. Before that, I was like,
Cracker.
What? Huh?
It's Cracker.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah. We went to that one. So anyway, but saw you guys playing that night, and my wife had your CD because they had them around town, and she got one of your EPs and loved them. And I was like, she goes, listen to these guys, and like I said, your show is so good, and I just like the way a deal and you do what you do as far as the integrating guitar and bass together and all that. It's just It's a great show. I really do love you guys, and like I said, like your music. I think your music is very creative. It's got, they're great tunes. So Why you guys haven't hit it earlier than now, I don't know why. But hopefully this is that step that's going to get you there. So,
I was thinking the other day, and I was going to say something to Brian about it, and so I guess I'll say it now. But just thinking about, what we've had some tribulations, and it's tough, over the 10 years kind of we've been playing together, doing this kind of stuff. If we'd have stopped 5 years ago, we'd never gone to Los Angeles. We've never have recorded with Mark Needham. I can't even tell you the things that we were able to do and see in LA. If we would have quit, 2 years after that, we wouldn't have gone to Europe. We wouldn't have played Sweden. We wouldn't have played, if we'd have quit last year, we wouldn't have signed this deal. We never got this thing with Joe. So if there's any kind of hope or advice, if you're doing something you really believe in, and we do, Brian and I have always believed in this, and there's something for sticking it out, man, because you never know what's right around the corner. And sometimes that corner looks like a really long stretch, but man, I'm glad that we've stuck it out, because we're really finally in a place now that I feel like that we're reaping a little bit of the rewards of the hard work that we've done, and we've definitely have worked our butt off. So,
and you're putting out great music too. I mean, your music's really good. I mean, that's so.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. Some credit. Everybody
today was my first introduction. I mean, I knew you guys were going to be on the show tonight, so I spent some time today listening to some stuff, and I was very impressed. We don't typically get people on the show and just fawn and all over them and just make people want to vomit. I mean, that's not really the gig. So I was sitting here. I was about to text Dennis, going, "You're not trying to date them."
Yeah,
but it's true.
Nobody cuts us any slack, so you guys don't feel any pressure to do so either.
No, my wife wants to date him, not me.
Yeah.
My wife loves
well, now, Chris,
but we get sent some stuff to listen to, and periodically, thing like that, and sometimes you put it on and you go, oh God, somebody didn't love them enough to tell them to get a job at a buffet or something like that. But I mean, from the very first song, and these guys will tell you, for me, if you don't make it, if I can't get you past the first song, we're done, because I am one of those guys that leading track's got to be the one to grab you. If it doesn't grab you, it's over. It's Skip City, and that thing goes in the trash. And I was very impressed. It's really good stuff, and I like the mix. I mean, I like the different types of songs that you have on the records. They're not all the same. They don't all sound the same, and I think that really adds to it too. It definitely makes it. And I love the blues part. I mean, there's not a lot of people doing that stuff anymore, and that's got a good groove to it, and it's really really good stuff. So I liked it.
I want to touch on something that Bill said. He says your songs are a little different. You get a little bit here and there. What are some of your influences that cause your music to be a little bit different each song?
I'm going to let Brian speak to this real quick after I do, as far as his personal influences. And I'd like to say that it's 50-50 and we both have these influences. But to be honest, Brian is very, the influences on this record. I mean, Brian's not a big blues guy. He's not going to tell you that he's into Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters, but I am. And so those things get pushed in there. And then as a drummer, he is, playing to those things. So you're listening to the record, you're hearing the influences that we both share together. But for the most part, it's probably a lot of my stuff as far as the blues stuff and the folk stuff. I'm lucky enough that he likes the songwriting and goes along with that and tries to put, he puts great drums and great stuff to it. But my influences are the influences that you would assume probably, maybe a little bit different from most guys, because I have a lot of gospel influences as far as old stuff. I like the old gospel blues stuff, Blind Lemon Jefferson, Blind Willie Johnson, that Sun House, all that stuff. And always liked artists like Johnny Cash and those guys that did dark songs mixed with gospel songs, because I feel like that narrative is probably the most honest one. You know, it's life is real. It's not all, you know, it's not all blue skies. And I've always been attracted to the dark things that feel honest and real. So songwriting wise, that stuff comes in that way. And I'm a big fan of blues, and I'm a big fan of classic rock stuff. And so I bring the stuff in that way. And then Brian's influences come along there, and his playing to kind of, you know, subtly make my stuff sound a little bit more cooler. If I was playing with somebody else other than Brian, it would probably sound a little bit less interesting, because he doesn't come in and play it like a blues drummer. If I had a blues drummer, it wouldn't sound the same. Or if I had a hard rock drummer, it wouldn't sound the same. So I'll let him speak a little bit to his influences and kind of where he comes from that. But on my end, that's kind of where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I think for me, really, first and foremost, I'm a fan of the songs. I know a few of the songs that came in that he brought in early. The songs are so good, I thought maybe they were covers, and Chris heard me say this a million times, but the first song was Jesus' Brother James, and the lyrics were so good that I thought, you know, this has to be something that I'm embarrassed that I don't know who this is. I mean, because this is clearly, you know, a magical song lyrically, just brilliant, you know. And he had a couple of them in his back pocket that he just kind of, you know, they just kind of fell in his lap, I guess. And you know, I've always wanted to, as a musician, serve the song, and I always wanted to be in the room with the guy that wanted to keep making records, you know. And when you're from two small towns in Kentucky, you get pretty lucky if you find a guy that wants to, you know, keep making records and stick it out, you know. So, yeah, influence wise, you know, Cream, Zeppelin, that kind of stuff. You know, James Brown, Stevie Wonder, Steely Dan, the Meters. I like the Meters. I like some hard rock stuff, you know. All that kind of comes in there. I like unique percussion sounds. I like to, you know, I'd like to go through Fred Sanford's place and try to find, you know, records, you know, and I get excited about those things, but it's got to serve the song. So I like the weird percussion stuff, you know, maybe you have like maybe Jim Keltner or Matt Chamberlain or maybe even Jim Gordon, you know. Yeah. So
I was going to say real quick, a little background to going into when we first started playing. We actually played in a band right before this, and we were both at a time where we were pretty frustrated, and we had done a music showcase for some record labels and some other stuff, and it went south. And we were really trying. I was particularly trying to do whatever the label wanted for us to get signed. So when I first came in with these songs and we started working these first few songs, it was probably the first time in my life that I said, "Screw it, I'm just going to write something I like." Because I had no intention of putting these songs out. We had no intention on being a band or anything else. I was done, and both Jesus Brother James and John both, I literally wrote in my head and picked up a piece of paper and wrote the entire song down at one time. But it was the first moment that I said, I don't really care if anybody else likes this, and I don't really care if anybody else, I'm not going to have somebody else tell me it's good or bad. I don't really care. I'm just going to write something for me and Brian to have a couple beers and just bang out in the garage. And that was it. So that was a turning point. And I could tell Brian at that point was like, oh, wow, this is, you know, this is a little better and a little different. So
it was pretty undeniable.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think it's important. I mean, you got to hold, you know, stick to your guns, and the stuff that, you know, we've talked about it before. Music is so emotional that if somebody takes that from you and tries to change your music, then it's not going to be what it was, and it's not going to move you the way it was. You're not going to play it the way you would have. It's not going to sound. It's just not going to be your stuff anymore. And I think, I'm glad it's good you realize that and stuck to it. And you're not 18 trying to get a record deal either, so you that makes a difference. I mean, you realize that there's more to it than just getting a deal and going out on the road or doing whatever. I've got to be able to stand by this for, it has meaning to you that's different. And I think that doesn't happen all the time.
I mean, you got to be, you got to love it. I mean, you got to want to put the name on the back of your jersey, you have to love it. I mean, I think, for just to have, that kind of songwriting and stuff is like, yeah, I'll do this. And, can't imagine not doing it really, so
we came into a good time period in music also, that there was nobody doing what we wanted to hear. Like the Black Crowes had kind of stopped doing what they were doing. There was a couple of the bands that I was really into that just stopped. And I noticed that all I was listening to was old Sabbath and Zeppelin and old music, and that there was nothing really out there that I dug. And I think we kind of filled a void for ourselves. Selfishly, we said, let's make some records that we would want to listen to, play stuff and we came in at a really good time, because there's a million rap artists out there, and there's a million country artists out there, but at this time there's not a ton of blues rock kind of guys out there, and so we hit it the right time,
Right. I think too, though.
I think both Chris and I. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think also Chris and I, one thing that sometimes I overlook, even just kind of reflecting, we're the same age, so there was like this Southern rock resurgence in the mid 90s that almost kind of sort of took off, and some obscure bands, maybe not super obscure, but we both like the same stuff. I mean, and I think the common thread was, it had a rootsy element. It wasn't so silly, like maybe like the hair metal thing or something, but it was more, it was like Rolling Stones with just a little more a Southern element, just us being from Kentucky. I mean, the only cover song we've ever done is Whipping Post by the Allman Brothers, and I remember like 3 or 4 years where all I did was listen to Southern rock, Skinner, Marshall Tucker Band, and Allman Brothers, and and loved that stuff, and loved heavy rock, and loved Zeppelin, and loved all those elements. And then I got to be honest, Chris taught me to appreciate lyrics. I tell him he kind of ruined it for me, because I never really paid attention. I always kind of heard lyrics melodically, almost like as a horn part or whatever. I never even tried to figure out what he was trying to say, or what the lyrics even meant. And so that he ruined that for me.
Well, and then one thing is kind of interesting. I'll just got a couple quick points. Bill asked me, or when we were talking about it earlier before you guys got on, I said I told him how much I liked your music. He goes, "I'm surprised you do," because he says it's got a kind of a country feel to it, but yet you've got a blues feel to it. You've got a rock. You can't really pin you guys down, because you really don't have a genre that you can pin the songs go and they flow. The different albums are different, so you've got a little bit of different. The thing I was going to say about you, Brian, your drumming to me is very, very Zeppelinish. I mean, it's John Bonham, because you don't have any rhyme or reason for what you're doing. It fits the song. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and that, I'm saying that in a nice way. You flow with the music. You're not just this basically. You're not a 2/4 guy. You're not this. Whatever he's playing, it's fine. And Chris, can you talk about your setup? I mean, is that something that you don't want to talk about? Because I know that you're playing bass and guitar at the same time. I know, is it a secret, or can we talk about it?
For a while it was a secret, and I'll tell you something, and not to be provocative, but I watched a thing with Royal Blood on some show the other night. And he didn't want to talk about his setup, but he talked enough about it that it was exactly my setup. And they came out right after we kind of started going, and right. Mark Needham pitched us to the record label that they're on, and they chose them over us.
Wow, and that's crazy.
I'm sure anybody could probably get it figured out if they wanted to bad enoughly, but
you've got it. I mean, you've got it down to a science. And like I said, if you don't want to talk about that, that's fine.
No,
I do like the way you're doing it, and I think it works perfect. And like I said, as soon as Royal Blood came out, I'm like going, that's what the Cold Stairs are doing.
Yeah, he's doing the same thing that I'm doing, but he's doing it with a bass, and it's a little bit different. So my guitar setup is, I go out of my guitar into a pedal switcher that runs 3 different amps. And the first amp is the amp that stays on all the time, and you can think of it as Malcolm Young. It is the rhythm. It stays in verses, bridges, and choruses. And second amp is a supplemental amp that sometimes is at standard and then sometimes is 1 octave down. And it comes in and out and bridges and choruses. And then the third amp hits a group of pedals that then goes to a bass amp. And then, so it is a true bass sound by the time it hits the bass amp, or else it doesn't work. It just doesn't sound right.
Right.
And then, so my gig live is just switching in between.
And it works a lot better than his video does.
Give it a second.
He'll come back in a second.
It'd be fun. But I got a good laugh in though when I did it. So.
Yeah.
Well, he actually pretended to be froze up, so he didn't have to tell you the rest of his gear.
Yeah, there you go.
No,
yeah, am I here?
No, you're good. You were. No, you're okay. Thank God. But no, like I said, in live, and I've seen you guys live. What you do, it works perfect. I mean, it's a really cool setup, and it's very impressive. And like I said, the two of you together are doing what 4 and 5 piece bands are doing. I mean, it's an incredible thing, and the music's great. Like I said, I can't say enough. Like I said, and I even texted Bill a while ago, "Are you dating him now?" Because he was talking about you guys. Like, but anyway, no. I mean, I tell you what, I cannot wait. I really do hope that this Bonamassa thing works out great, and you get a lot more people. And everybody that follows the show, please go out and listen to the music, buy their music, and what have you, because you're gonna like it. It's rock is not dead. You just got to know where to find it.
So are you putting out any vinyl? Are you doing anything on vinyl? Because I think this would be really good on vinyl. It'd be a really cool.
Yeah, we did a vinyl on the last record, and we still have some of that. And that actually have some more coming back in for Mountain. That's a great one on vinyl because it is like this record in that it has some different components. Where you have some acoustic songs, you have some blues songs, you have some heavy songs, and that seems to be it's kind of scarce nowadays. But the albums that I love, like the Zeppelin records or Free or whatever else, those old records had those moments. I love AC/DC. AC/DC Stage, Hard Rock, and the whole record. And a couple records I love the Cult Electric. That record rocks all the way start to finish. And our next record is going to, I don't want to give too much away, but it's going to be a very different record than this record. But I do love records that have ups and downs and peaks and valleys. And I want the record to be tied together with some themes. But I love that on vinyl. I love putting on a vinyl record and hearing something that just jams a speaker, and the next song is, dark and quiet. And so, yes, this one we'll have some vinyls before Christmas.
Okay,
cool, man. That's awesome.
So talk about when your next album is coming out and what kind of, well, not what kind of deal. Talk about the record deal, any touring you got coming up, or any of that fun stuff.
The full record is out October 18th. So not too much longer. We released it in 3 EPs, acoustic EP, a hard rock EP, and a blues EP. We split it up this time and tried to make it like we were making 3 different records, which I think we did. Even as much as we try to do that, they're still tied together, But the blues EP comes out next Friday. This Friday, a single off of it comes out the next Friday, October 4th. The following week, October 11th, the blues EP comes out. Then the whole thing is out as a complete project, October 18th. So, man, it's been really hard this time to do it that way, because as soon as the record's done, I just want to give it to all all my friends and go, "Hey, does this suck? Are we all? How does this sound? I hate to be." And I don't guess I second guess myself that much, because if somebody says I don't really like that song, I'm like, what are you talking about? It's great. I'm attached to it. So
I think since you got the endorsement from Joe, I think you're going to be okay.
Yeah. But even with Joe, there's people out there that they're like, oh well, I don't like Joe, so I don't like you guys, whatever. I don't know. It's so people are so
fuck those guys.
Yeah, there's all the too much of this junk on forums and everything else. People think too much about it. Just listen to the record, and if you like it, you like it. And if you don't,
they're trolls.
I'll tell you one thing, man. We've been really lucky. I had somebody the other day say it was an older lady, a friend of my wife's, that said, "Well, I was going to come see you. I didn't want to be the oldest person in the room," and the lady's actually fairly young, and I said, it's surprising to us, but we have a demographic that spans anywhere between 13 and 75, whatever. My wife's grandmother came and saw us play, and I think a lot of times I go, man, we're so loud and heavy. We're going to scare the fire out of these people, but they love it. So anyway, but yeah, the full record out on the 18th. Touring wise, we go out to the West Coast in November. We're playing Las Vegas. We're playing Los Angeles. We're going to be doing some live in studio performance stuff in LA. And then we just signed with TKO Booking. Andrew Goodfriend is our promoter now or agent now. And he's very well known and does a ton of good bands. So he's helping us. We're looking for some national tours that we're going to be picking up next year. And I am not at liberty per the contract to announce a couple things next year.
Every time you try to do something,
not at liberty to talk.
You know what? The police are watching him, and every time he tries to say something, they fuck his video up.
That is his A&R man cutting him off.
Did it go out? Did it go out again?
It did.
It did. As soon as you said, "I can't talk about this," he went,
"You're not at liberty to talk," and it went.
Literally, we just signed a contract for some really cool things for next year, specifically in August and specifically out of the country. But it said in the contract we are not the ones that can announce it. So it will be announced probably by the time this is out or in the next week. You'll be hearing about that, and it will be probably the coolest show we've done.
Right.
Series of shows that we've done so far.
Are you playing anywhere in Evansville soon? I mean, are you play out here quite a bit? I mean, I used to do Mojo's. I mean, you still play over there some, or?
No, we do not. We played Boca Lounge last Saturday. Had a sellout crowd and great show, and we love Evansville, but we're going to take a break for a little bit.
I don't blame you. Get your shit together and go tour the world.
Yeah, I think we're back in February. I know,
right?
But it may be a couple months probably before we come back.
And hopefully, Joe comes through. So if Joe comes through, maybe you guys will be opening for him. So that'd be awesome too.
Yeah, that would be great.
He's not at liberty to discuss that.
I know.
What is wrong with you?
He smiled though. But anyway,
all right. Well,
looking forward to seeing you guys again, because my wife, I'll bring her too, because she loves you guys. She really loves you guys. So. Shut up. Alan, you know what? See this? You're number one. You fucker.
Well, tell our audience where they can find you guys on the internet.
thecoldstairs.com. Easy enough. And then we're on all the streaming platforms and any social media stuff that you're on, just / the Cold Stairs, and you can find us.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right, well,
we'll
hang out for a second. I'm going to take us out of here. Visit us on agesofrock.com. Thanks again for listening. Check out our social media, Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio, all of that other good shit. Until next week, folks, peace out.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Ages of Rock podcast. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and most importantly, tell all your friends. Remember, you're never too old to rock. Until the next episode, peace out, folks.